Last year, everyone shipped more AI features than ever before, and most of them are already dead. Nobody removed them. Users just scrolled straight past them. But here's the weird part. The data says AI in EdTech actually works incredibly well. Platforms using AI personalization are seeing completion rates nearly double. Engagement goes up by 60%. Test scores jump over 50%. So AI clearly works, but it's just not the kind most are building. And the difference between the AI your learners ignore and the AI they can't stop using comes down to a few specific decisions that happen before anyone writes a single line of code. That's exactly what we'll discuss today. So there are really only two kinds of AI features in EdTech right now. The first kind is what I call showcase AI. It's the feature you build so you can say you have an AI. The general chatbot, the magic button, the Ask Me Anything assistant. It demos well, it looks impressive on a slide, and your users couldn't care less about it. The second kind is what I would call invisible AI. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't have its own tab. It just quietly makes the product better at the exact moment the learner needs it, and half time they don't even realize AI is involved. That second kind is where all the results are coming from. So let me show you exactly what separates them, because once you see the pattern, you can unsee it. Here's how showcase AI usually gets built. Pressure shows up from somewhere, the board or competitor, the market. Suddenly you need an AI story. So your team builds the most visible thing they can, usually a chatbot. It can answer questions about your platform, explain features, maybe summarize content. In the demo, it's a magic. Ask it anything, it responds. But then you ship it and nobody uses it. And the reason is brutally simple. Your learners were never sitting there with a question about your platform. They were stuck inside the actual content. And to use your chatbot, they would have to stop what they are doing, context switch to a separate interface, figure it out what to type and hope the answer is useful. That's not solving a problem, that's just creating a new task. And the research confirms this at scale. When you ask people when they don't use AI features, the number one answer isn't "it's bad" or "I don't trust it." About half of them just say they never found a reason to use it. They literally couldn't figure it out what it was for. The feature didn't fail because of the technology, but because it was built to impress a room, not to help an actual user of your platform. Okay, now look at the features that actually move numbers. A learner gets an answer wrong, and right there, without clicking anything, a prompt explains why that specific answer was wrong and nudges them toward the right one. That's AI. But the learner doesn't think I'm using AI. They think this app just helped me. Or a learner is halfway through a module and their engagement pattern starts matching people who usually drop off. So the platform quietly adjusts, serves a shorter clunk, changes the format, surfaces a quick win. The learner never ends up seeing the machinery. They just don't quit. Platforms doing this are predicting dropout weeks before the learner even considers leaving and reducing it by 15 to 50% depending on the implementation. Or the simplest version of all, an automatic summary that appears at the end of a long module. No button, no menu, no decision. Just value right where the learner already is. See the pattern? None of these features announce themselves. None of them have their own tab. They live inside the flow, they trigger automatically, and they solve something the learner was actually struggling with. That's not a design preference, that's the mechanism. Smaller scope AI that requires no user interaction and sits inside existing workflows consistently outperforms big, visible, standalone AI features. So, before you greenlight any AI feature, run it through three filters. Filter 1. Does it solve a pain the learner already has or a pain you have? We need an AI strategy. Is your pain not theirs? Learners drop off at module 4 is theirs problem. If the feature starts with your boardroom and not with your user's frustration, it's a showcase AI. Filter 2. Does it require the learner to do something new, or does it work inside what they are already doing? If the learner has to navigate somewhere, open something, type a prompt, or learn a new interaction, you have actually added friction, not a value. The best AI features trigger themselves. The learner doesn't decide to use them, they just benefit. Filter 3. Would anyone want this if you remove the word AI from it entirely? Describe the feature without mentoring AI. If what's left sounds useful, like let's say it tells you what your answer was wrong, build it. If what's left sounds like nothing, like it lets you chat with the platform, keep kill it as soon as possible. Any feature that fails even one of these three is high risk for going unused. And even if it passes all three, don't build it yet. The biggest waste isn't building a bad AI, it's building good AI that nobody needed and only finding out after the quarter's gone. So, validate first, build second. Here's how, cheaply. The fake door is probably the easiest. Put the button in your live product right now, before you build anything behind it. When someone clicks, show a "coming soon, would this be useful" message. Count the clicks. If it barely anyone reaches for it, you just dodged a quarter of engineering for the cost of an afternoon. The second method is a clickable mock. Tools like SupaDemo, Arcade, or Storyline let you build a fake version of the feature in a few hours. It looks and feels real, with zero production code behind it. Put it in front of 10 of your actual users and watch what they do. Do they reach for it without your pointing? Do they understand it without your explanation? Do they actually get the outcome? If they won't touch it when it's fake and free, they won't touch it when it's real and expensive. And the third method is a behavior prototype. If you want hard numbers, mock the feature in Figma and run it through Maze. You will get actual measurement on where people click, where they get confused, and where they give up before you have committed a single engineer. Pick whichever fits your speed. The point is the same. Let your users tell you what's worth building before you spend the money. Every dead feature is a roadmap you don't get a refund on. Weeks of your best engineers on something that moves no number that matters. But the quiet cost is worse. When people pay for a product and not only use a fraction of it, they start wondering if they are getting their money's worth. And that question is exactly where churn begins. Meanwhile, your competitor who built invisible AI, the kind that quietly makes their product better, is seeing completion rates nearly double and engagement numbers you would put on a fundraising deck. The gap between those two outcomes isn't talent or budget, it's which kind of AI you choose to build. So, this week, open your roadmap. Run every AI feature through those three filters I mentioned. First, pain they have, not pain you have. Second, works inside the flow, not next to it. And the third, the last one, useful without the word AI. Anything that fails, simply don't build it. Once it passes these three, just fake it and test it first to validate before building. If you do so, you will stop guessing what your learners want and start watching them tell you. If you want a hand figuring out which AI is worth building and how to build it so it actually works at scale, that's what we do at Selleo. You can find a free consultation link in the description. And if this saves you a quarter of wasted roadmap, just subscribe. We make these videos for EdTech CEOs every 2 weeks. And if your roadmap is getting slower and you are not sure whether to hire, rewrite, or just push it through it, we made a video breaking down how to handle tech debt without killing your momentum. Check it out right here.